you're doing well. I hope you're able to work in your classes today and get things started. We're starting a little late. We're a 14-week class. This is going to be English 002. I'm Sandy Oliver. I'm going to be your instructor for this section. And our course title is Transition English. And really what that means is taking you from everyday writing and things like that to college level writing. And so we're going to work through 10 units and hopefully improve writing and comprehension and help you to do those papers and things from other classes. So, like I said, my name is Sandy Oliver. I'm going to be your instructor for this section of English 002. And if you haven't printed or saved the syllabus to your device, then go ahead and pause me and go do that, because you're going to need to have that to kind of look at some things that we're going to walk through. Makes it easier. You get it both ways that way. Okay. On the first page, of course, is our normal, here's who I am, here's what the class is about. And so I am an adjunct instructor, so I'm not on campus. I work remote. I work from home, as you can see from my background. I love giraffes, as you can also see from my background. And yes, that is a sewing machine over my right shoulder. I think that's right, anyway. You have my telephone number. Please don't just call me out of the blue. Text me. See if we can get things that way. That way neither of us is under the pressure to make sure everything comes out correctly. We can always backspace and fix things. If we need to talk on the phone, that's fine. We can do that. I don't know that there's any other way for us to communicate. I prefer email, and I know I'm old, but email is our official communications pathway, and just get used to checking your email. It'll come up. I put in every week, hey, don't forget you've got classes to do. English 002 is an interesting kind of setup. The class itself is self-paced, so there aren't really any due dates, except that you do still have to make progress in the course. This is not you sign up and you're done, of course. It's a college course. You have 10 units to finish. Folks who were not able to finish all 10 or all 6, and I'll get to that whole split there, last term or probably in the spring, they can start where they left off. So if you have already finished units 1 through 3, you're going to start with unit 4 this semester. If you haven't started at all, this is your first time in the course, then you do have time, if you're diligent, to get through all 10 units of the course. Last fall, I had 3 students who finished before Thanksgiving. So, and they started with unit 1. So it's possible, it's doable, but you do have to be on it. You have to be kind of diligent on things. So on the first page, it also has a little bit about what you're going to learn, reading and writing process, and pre-reading, reading, that kind of stuff. Basically, a lot of this is what really super good students, what they do all the time. And so what we're trying to do is help you on that road to becoming a super great, brilliant student. We don't have any textbooks. I'm on page 2 now. We don't have any textbooks. Everything, the software is called NROC. It's N-R-O-C. And it's everything from pre-reading and journaling and free writing and all the things you need to build a paper. And we start out small with a paragraph, and then we do 2 paragraphs, and then after that it just goes up. Okay. I really, really, really would encourage you to buy a good dictionary, just so you have it next to you all the time. Now, I do have the American Heritage Dictionary on my phone, and that works really well. So, it's an app, it's free. There are lots of other dictionaries out there, of course, but I will tell you, the American Heritage Dictionary is very good for words we use all the time. It does have the upper level words in it, of course, but it's very good for those of you who are coming from English not being your first language, or those of you who have been out of school for a while. The helpfulness of a good dictionary can't be put up too high. You're going to need to use some sort of way of saving your work. You can save it to your computer, you can save it to your device. It's always good to have a backup copy of things. I mean, in the land of computer programming and all of that, it's always good to have a backup copy of things, and to do that regularly. Okay, everything you need is contained within the course. Each unit has 3 parts. The first part that you have to do before you can see the rest, and that's another list of things here. I just lost what I was saying. Okay. All the things that you need are contained within the course. In each unit you have a growth mindset activity, which you have to do before you can see the rest. Sometimes it's watch this video and tell me what you think. Sometimes it's read this little bit and tell me what you think. Most of it is tell me what you think. So, hard to have a wrong answer there. Use those also to practice proper English grammar and spelling and sentence structure and all that kind of stuff. And then you have the NROC, which is the writing center stuff, and that's the bulk of your work is in there. We do 3 drafts of each paper, of each writing assignment. A rough draft that I will look at and let you know that you're on the right track or not. A second draft, which is the actual kind of all laid out paper, which I'll also give you feedback on, and then your final draft, which is graded. Once the final draft is graded, you have to have an 80% or better to move on to the next unit. And there's also the third part of the unit back on our Moodle page for the class, is an assessment for each section. Now there are also some grammar, punctuation, writing stuff that goes into that before that, and I would highly recommend you at least spin through them and make sure that, oh yeah, I know what a comma does, I know what an apostrophe is, I know how to introduce a quote or whatever. There's all kinds of good things on there, so make sure that you've at least looked at the topic so that you know what's going to be on the test. The test also has to have an 80% or better in order for you to move on. I will not open other sections for you, other units for you, until you're finished with that. And I've got it set up on the course so that it'll automatically do that for you. So once you have at least an 80% in both the writing, final draft, and the assessment for that unit, you'll see the next unit, and you can do the growth mindset activity and move on from there. If you are starting from a later point, a later unit, you will see the other units. The first, say if you're going to start with unit 3, you'll see 1 and 2. Skip those, you've already done it. Go to the biggest number you see and start there. So unit 3, get busy, okay, that kind of stuff. On page 2 of your syllabus, there's a first day complete opt-out information. Our class can't do this, really. We don't have a book, and we don't have anything like that, so e-text either, so it's all contained in NROC, so don't worry about that. And then there's more information on the opt-out thing. If you're opting out in other classes, it will not affect the NROC thing in our class because it's not an e-text. It's a whole system. Okay. Okay. We have 6 contact hours Really, because we're starting at the 14 week instead of the 16 week, it's 7 hours a week is what you're supposed to spend working on the class. Okay. My thing is, as long as you are posting at least one gradable assignment every week, I will keep you in the class for attendance. Now, if that's all you're doing, you're not going to finish the class by the end of the term. Okay. But keep that in mind when your week gets away from you, or life throws you something that is going to take up most of your time, whether you get sick or your kid gets sick or your parents are sick, whatever. That's why there's that one, as long as you do one thing, you're good. Do that, move on. Okay. But then make sure that you catch up. And it's all online. Each of the units, I have a video explaining the writing, and then NROC walks you through stuff. So you have plenty of ways to figure things out there. And if you can't figure things out, send me an email. Let me know what your question is. I'll be more than happy to help. Okay, on page 4, we have a little bit of how this works. So if, I think that starts at the bottom of page 3, the course requirements. In order to progress to the next English class, which is either English 110 or English 111, depending upon your program, you have to pass at least through Unit 6 with those 80% or better. Okay. That gives you English 110 or English 111 with the co-requisite course of English 011. That'll get, it's called Tier 1. You'll get a P1 as your grade. The grades are kind of wonky here, but I'll get to those. If you want to be done with the companion classes, just go to English 111 and sit there, right? You have to have all 10 units finished with an 80% or better. Okay. Your final grade for this class, this particular section, is based 50% on your unit assessment and 50% on the writing final draft. Okay, so each unit, 80%. You'll see on Moodle, you'll see a score, right? And it's like a normal average for a normal class. This is not a normal class. This is a transition English class, and so it's based on the number of units you have done, not your percentage. Okay. And so you'll see the little grading scale there. You have to have, obviously, at least an 80 in each one. So your average has to be at least an 80 for you to get the passing, the P credit. Depending upon how many units you pass, determines whether it's a P1 or a P2. Okay. Yeah. There's no final exam for the class. All work must be posted no later than 11:50 p.m. on Thursday, December 12th. Okay. So we run from now until the end of the semester, end of the regular semester. So the last day to withdraw from this class is December 3rd. So yeah, almost done. And the other thing is, if you fall very, very behind, if you miss more than 2 weeks of work, and they don't have to be 2 weeks in a row, that third week causes you to be dropped from the class. And I will tell you that I try really hard to encourage you to do at least one thing a week and stay in the course and finish as many units as you can. But if I don't hear from you and you've had your third week absence, I will have to drop you from the class, and that means you just have to take this again. So there's that part. Your regular class attendance, again, like I've said before, is you have to post at least one assignment, graded assignment every week in order to stay in the class attendance-wise. And again, that's not going to get you to finish the class, but it's going to let you stay in and do what you can. Okay. Our census date, the date you have to be done with the required enrollment activity, is Friday, September 6th. Okay, so make sure that you've done that. You can't see anything else really in the class until you do that, so ta-da. And once you're in, that doesn't mean you're done, right? It's a college course, so you have things to do. Make sure that you're doing at least one thing a week in order to stay in the class. My availability, I am here during the work week, Monday through Friday. I usually, I check my email in the morning, well, whatever passes for morning for me, and I check my email and I work through everything that's been turned in since the last time I was in the class. And so if you're working at midnight or you're working, after dinner, I won't see that until in the morning. Okay, I work through class once every day, and you can turn in a new thing for the next day, and a new thing for the next day, and I will do that. I do usually check in on Saturdays. There are a couple of weekends where my husband and I are out of town, and I won't be checking, but I'll remind you, hey, I'm only going to be here till Friday this week, so sorry about the weekend. I don't expect anybody to work on their holy day, and so some people that'll be Friday, some that'll be Saturday, some that'll be Sunday. My holy day is Sunday, and so I try really hard not to be online at all on Sundays. I don't always succeed, but that's my plan. So I hope that you take a day, whether it's your holy day or not, once a week, just to kind of reset and reschedule and all of that. I know it seems like you don't have time for that, but it's a good thing to train yourself and the folks around you that there are times when you're going to say no, and that's okay. It's a good thing. Okay, back to the other things. If you have a quick question that can also be answered quickly, send me a text. I answer those as soon as I see them. And then make sure that when the first time that you send me a text that you identify yourself. Okay? I have learned the hard way that putting all your phone numbers in from self-service is a waste of time. A lot of them are incorrect. You have new phone numbers. You don't use that old phone number. Your cell phone is different from, of course, sometimes different from your home phone. And yeah, anyway, the first time you text me, make sure that you say your name, and then after that, I'll put you in my phone and you'll be fine. The other thing is the progression. I know it's a self-paced course, but if you want to finish on time, and I'm assuming you're in here, you have to take the course, so you want to finish on time. I've got a couple of different processes here for you, progressions here for you at the bottom of page 5. If you're really convinced that you only want to work through Unit 6, and you're fine with taking the companion course and such next time, there's a progression for that, okay? And then if you're trying to work on all 10 units, there's a slightly different accelerated progression for that. You will see zeros in the course for things that you're behind on. Self-paced. How can I be behind? Well, you have to make progress if you want to finish. And so what we've done is think of it as incentive. You don't want to see a zero, so do one more thing this week. And if you don't basically stay up with what these progressions look like, then eventually I'll have zeros in there. When we have our Aviso notes, Aviso is a wonderful system. You have access to it. You can see kind of what your instructors have said, how your attendance is going, all of that. And what we're encouraged to do is there are 3 times during the semester where basically everything's going to be caught up. And not that I don't keep things up as I go along, but sometimes it's a good thing to go, okay, here's everything. How you doing? And so on those days, and I'll let you know when those are coming and such in our announcements every week, everything in a visa will be caught up, and then you can go look and say, oh, I'm not as far along as I thought I was. I'm you know, whatever the deal is for you. Okay? A couple of other things about, I already told you about partial completers. If you have taken the class before and you finished a unit or 2 or 5, you start on the next unit, and I'll have that set up for you in the class. There are academic resources on page 6. Upswing is an online tutorial service. The Academic Success Center gives you tutoring as well. We have a dedicated tutor for English 002. Her name is Mary Jernigan, and if you need a tutor, or if I recommend that you have a tutor, I will give you her information, but she's also in our syllabus and such. You can see that. The library, of course, has a bunch of stuff, including an open computer lab and computers for loan. So if yours goes, and you need a week or 2 to get to the point where you can get a new one, they have some stuff to help you out there. If you don't have reliable internet access at home, the library has a computer lab, and you can go there and get your work done. And just so you know, have this run around the back of your head, any of your public libraries also have computers that you can use for classwork, and they're open quite a few more hours than our library is. Okay. The help desk is very good. The IT help desk, they're very good at helping you get to where you need to be on your computer. They'll help you figure out, why can't I see this, or how do I make this work? They're very good for that. Just remember, Mrs. Oliver is not tech support. I can help with some things, but that's not my primary job. Academic integrity, basically do your own work, do it with integrity, everything's good, you don't have to worry about it. If you choose to present somebody else's material as your own, and you get caught, which happens more often than you think, both of those things, it's academic dishonesty. The least thing that can happen is that you get a 0 for that assignment. Depending upon the severity and how often you've done this, you can get a 0, an F for the semester. You can be suspended from the college. You can be expelled. So just do your own work. It's okay. A few college policies there. The catalog and student handbook, which is online. You can click on that from the web page. Just all kinds of things there about academic honor code, attendance policy, grade appeals, student grievance, drop ad procedure, all that kind of fun stuff. If you had an IEP in high school or whatever, please talk with Miss Susan Moore. She is the one that you need to talk to get accommodations. Unlike high school transcripts, your college transcripts will not have any indication of this. So if it's helpful for you to have, say, distraction-free testing, time and a half, that kind of stuff, they can make that happen. Now, our class is kind of already set up for that. The assessments are timed, but they're timed at 5 hours and it's 20 questions, so you have plenty of time to play. And other things like that. But if there are some things that you need, going to disability, what do they call them here now? Students with Disability Office, they are necessary for you to get those accommodations. I can't just give them to you because you said you want them. You have to go get a piece of paper, and she'll send me an email and that kind of stuff. Okay. RCC does not discriminate on the basis of race, color, sex, age, religion, disability, origin, or other non-relevant factors. They don't have in there specifically sexual orientation and such, but that is part of that. Okay, so be careful. You have a little class that you need to take on safe colleges and things, and you'll get a note that says, hey, you need to take this class because you haven't before or because it's been a while. And it's a half an hour of your life. It's very good, though, so happiness. A couple of things. I am open to lots and lots of emails and questions and things. Be as specific as you can. It helps me be more helpful for you. If you have a problem with getting into some aspect of the course, if you can see our course and get into it, then usually what the problem is kind of accessing things is your browser or your internet connection. And so those are things that you have to take care of. I can't help you with that all that much. I can remind you, hey, remember we talked about that? That's probably your browser. If you're using Edge or Bing or something like that, they don't always work well with the LMS. Chrome does, Firefox does, and if you're working on an Apple, a Macintosh, you have whatever the current iOS is. And so that helps a little bit. Let me know if you have questions, problems, issues that pertain to the English class. I'm more than happy to help, and you have my email on the first page of the syllabus, so let me know. Bye.